Some of these bands sold out arenas. Some wrote songs you still know by heart. And yet somehow, history erased them. If you lived through the 80s, or wish you had, this list will hit hard. These bands had it all. The look, the sound, the stage presence. But somehow, they still slipped through the cracks. Today, we're counting down 15 underrated 80s rock bands you forgot existed. Bands that deserved way more love than they ever got. Some of these will hit you with instant nostalgia. Others might make you say, wait, how did I forget them? Let's dive in. '15, Honeymoon Suite. The moment you hear the first notes, it's 1986 again. New Girl Now, blasting from a Camaro stereo. Windows down. Summer faded. Honeymoon Suite delivered pure Canadian arena rock. Slick hooks, big choruses, and real heart. Tracks like Feel It Again and Wave Babies didn't just sound good. They felt like Friday nights. They topped the charts in Canada and even crossed into US radio, but never quite became household names in the States. Today, they're a hidden gem that instantly brings the vibe back the second you hit play. 14, Autograph. They had one of the most iconic rock anthems of the decade. Yet somehow, they're barely mentioned today. Autograph exploded with Turn Up the Radio, a song that became a symbol of 80s rebellion and freedom. Their debut album also gave us Send Her to Me, another melodic gem packed with power chords and radio-ready energy. With slick production and stadium-built choruses, their rise looked unstoppable. But label struggles and lineup changes stalled their momentum, and they faded almost as fast as they arrived. Still, when those opening notes hit, it feels like the summer of '84 never ended. 13, Dirty Looks. Dirty Looks had the swagger of AC/DC and the street-level snarl of early Guns N' Roses. Without the fame, they broke through with Cool from the Wire, delivering gritty standouts like Oh, Ruby, and It's Not the Way You Rock. Their sound was raw, loud, and completely unfiltered, a sharp contrast to the polished glam flooding the airwaves. They toured hard, played harder, and earned loyal fans, but mainstream success never followed. Today, their records feel like secret weapons in any true rock fan's collection. 12, Hurricane. Hurricane had the pedigree, the sound, and the look. But got lost in the glam metal shuffle. Formed by Robert Sarzo and Tony Cavazzo, brothers of Quiet Riot members, Hurricane came in strong with melodic heavy hitters like I'm On to You and Over the Edge. They earned solid airplay and toured with major acts, but timing and oversaturation kept them stuck in the shadow of bigger names. One spin of those choruses makes it clear they were built for more than opening slots. Baby, baby, what you got, Harry? 11, Vain Vain had the look, the swagger, and a frontman overflowing with charisma, but fame slipped through their fingers. Their cult classic debut, No Respect, delivered sleazy, stylish anthems like Beat the Bullet and Icy, darker, grittier, and cooler than most glam bands. They were almost too edgy for the mainstream, Industry shakeups and shifting trends clipped their momentum just as it was building. For glam fans in the know, Vane remains one of the last great bands of the era that never got their full shot. 10. Saigon Kick 2 Glam for grunge. Too weird for glam. Saigon Kick never fit neatly into a box, and that may have been their downfall. Their 1992 ballad, Love Is On The Way, briefly lit up the charts. But tracks like Hostile Youth showed their real strength, blending metal, pop, and psychedelic textures into something unpredictable. They weren't trying to sound like anyone else, and for listeners craving something different, Saigon Kick was a breath of fresh, distorted air. 9. Rough Cut. Rough Cut had the chops, the connections, and the sound to break big. But stardom never showed up. Produced by Ronnie James Dio and featuring future members of Quiet Riot and Ozzy Osbourne's band, they delivered melodic hard rock standouts like Piece of My Heart and Never Gonna Die. They toured relentlessly and built loyal fans, but never got the label push needed to hit the big leagues. Timing failed them. Talent didn't. 8. Blue Murder Born. From the ashes of Whitesnake and Thin Lizzy, Blue Murder looked unstoppable on paper. Led by guitar wizard John Sykes, their self-titled debut was a hard rock masterclass. Baby girl, so bring it on home to me. I just need a lover. Epic solos, layered vocals, and production that hit like a freight train. Critics loved it. Guitar fans worshipped it. Commercial success never followed. Today, it remains one of the most underrated albums of the entire decade. 7. King's X. King's X didn't fit the mold, and that's exactly why they mattered. They blended crushing riffs with Beatles-style harmonies, creating a sound that was heavy, soulful, and spiritual. Tracks like Over My Head and Goldilocks offered depth and power rarely heard in hard rock. Bands like Pearl Jam and Pantera cited them as influences. Yet mainstream fame never arrived. They weren't chasing trends. They were quietly setting them. 6. TNT came from Norway, but their sound felt built for Los Angeles arenas. With soaring vocals from Tony Harnell and slick guitar work, songs like 10,000 Lovers, In One, and Intuition were tailor-made for big stages. 10,000 lovers! They found strong followings in Europe and Japan, but never fully crossed over in the US. Whatever the reason, TNT remains one of the tightest and most underrated bands of the glam metal era. 5. Pretty Maids. Pretty Maids had the power, the polish, and the hooks to go global. Storming out of Denmark with Future World and Red Hot and Heavy, they delivered a perfect blend of melodic metal and hard rock energy. They found success overseas, but in the US they stayed mostly underground, a hidden treasure in a crowded scene. Decades later, their early albums still feel like missed breakthroughs. 4. Loudness. Loudness made history as the first Japanese metal band to truly break into the US. With tracks like Crazy Nights and Let It Go, They brought blistering guitar work and high-octane energy to American audiences. They signed major deals and cracked MTV, but language barriers and changing trends kept them from true global superstardom. Loudness was never a novelty. They were the real deal. Three, Savatage. Savatage were theatrical, ambitious, and way ahead of their time. Albums like Hall of the Mountain King and Gutter Ballet fused classical influences with power metal grit, delivering bold, emotional songwriting far beyond most of their peers. Mainstream success always felt just out of reach, but their legacy lived on, eventually evolving into Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Savatage wasn't just a band, they were something bigger. 2. Steelheart. If you remember one thing about Steelheart, it's that voice. Milenko Matijevich's soaring vocals turned I'll Never Let You Go into one of the most powerful power ballads of the era. But tracks like Can't Stop Me Loving You proved they had the full package. Their debut went platinum, and superstardom seemed inevitable, until the early 90s changed everything. 1. Kingdom Come. They had the hype, they had the sound, they had the debut album, with Get It On and What Love Can Be. Now that I know what love can be. Kingdom Come delivered thunderous, Zeppelin-inspired arena rock that exploded onto the charts. For a brief moment, they were everywhere. But the same comparisons that fueled their rise sparked backlash just as fast. Critics labeled them copycats, and the momentum vanished. What I wanna be, thanks for helping me. Still, that debut remains a powerhouse, proof that Kingdom Come deserved far more than history gave them. Know what love can be. If you thought these bands were underrated, this list barely scratches the surface. The 80s were packed with incredible rock bands that never got their moment. If you love deep cuts and forgotten classics, check out Part 1 and the other videos on the channel. Like, subscribe, and keep the music alive.